So having looked at the starter motor a bit more and taken it apart, I actually think it was probably good, but in taking it apart I've destroyed the pivot pin. I can't find a replacement. I've destroyed the star lock that holds it all in place and can't find an appropriate replacement, and the brass bush at the end broke when I was getting off the star lock. So with that in mind, I've gone and ordered a new starter motor, and whilst I'm waiting for that to come, I'm going to move on to something else. So right now we're going to look at our first bit of welding. Actually, I've got an old welder. It's not really appropriate for the car because it should be it's a no gas welder, so minimum thickness is really about 1.5 millimeters. But we're going to try a little bit just to get us started whilst the welder is waiting to be turned up. So we're going to start here. And just here there's a hole. We're going to cut out a little square and weld a new piece in place, and we'll see what that looks like. So I've concluded that the starter motor actually needs replacing, and I'm just waiting for a little bit of advice from someone else to confirm that. In the meantime, to try to make some progress, I've decided to try painting the wheel nuts silver. I know they should be chrome, but they're in such a rusty mess, and I'm not going to re-chrome them. And this is the top plate for the master brake cylinder housing, so we're getting started on that. And what we're going to do now is over here we have this dent, and so we're going to have a little play trying to bang this out a bit and straighten that out. So we will have a little go with a hammer and dolly and see how we get on. So I didn't show you what this looked like before, but this is the strengthened unit and the jacking point. This was completely broken off and hanging down. So we have welded that up and it looks okay. I'm quite pleased with that. On the other side, they had previous owner or somebody had clearly tried to do it. It out. Look and see if I can fire. So, and here. That's good, but so here I have, this is the driver's side, and I think this is the castle section. You can see it's pretty rotten all the way to about here, and then it's actually pretty good after this all the way back. And I've got my hand in here, and I can't feel any holes. It all seems pretty good inside here. So I think what I'm going to try, and if it doesn't work, I'm not happy with it, then I'll go back and get the whole lot. But I think I'm going to try cutting it out from here forward, and just buy a part castle section which you can buy to go in there, and actually with this bit here to just cut this out and replace this whole section. So and replace this with good metal, replace that with a castle section, and then I think for the most part based on work other people have done, and some of it's not the greatest, but it's all in there and it's all strong, is hopefully that'll get me there for this bit for the front wing. I've got a huge bit at the back. You'll remember from my very first video, and so this bit is, I mean, this is just, well, look at it, it's just awful, man. I think there might be metal on metal, you know, rust on rust here, and it needs to get cut all the way up to about there. Okay, you can see where the magnet starts working. Below that it just falls off, but about here we've got a magnet. So I think I'm going to have to cut along here somewhere, take quite a lot out, and so with that in mind, I'm going to possibly order that back bit and the castle section. I've got sheet metal that I can use for the other bits, and then here as well you can see this was all filler, and underneath it's holey, and I suspect if I pull this bit of filler off it will, so maybe start working on this here. So that's my plan, I guess, is order those bits of metal, those body panels, and try to do the other bit myself, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I've started trying to clear out under here. So this clearly, you know, that folds in. Gonna have to get myself a camera or something to do this properly. So it goes along here. Clearly this actually is meant to have a flange over as well. I seem to have about 16 layers of metal in here of some kind, and great gaps in there so that it hasn't set flush. But in here that's actually pretty strong, so I'm positive I don't want to have to take all of that and replace the inner and outer sills. I can't see any point in doing that. So I think what I'm going to try to do is I need to flatten this off a bit and up here, and then maybe try to make a flange that goes across and hopefully connect it up to this a bit better. So I'll have to stitch weld it along here and then plug weld it onto here. I think that's the way to go. And then I've been looking at the floor as well, which I thought was in better condition, but as I go through it I can see actually again that here they've welded a piece of metal over. Well, you can see all the layers in here, and that's rotted through, but again I don't want to replace all of this if I don't have to. So, and you know, although we can see the rust, I think if I clean it off and put some anti-rust stuff on and then repaint it and underseal it, that should be okay. So I'm going to just try again patching like they have in fact previously for now. That is to say, just lay a patch over, clean it off a bit better, and then lay a patch over it, I think is the way I'm going to do it. But here I'm going to try to, I think the idea I should do is try to cut a bit of this out and then weld a piece into it. But having said that, I don't know how I'm going to get a welder if I, go up and along and down. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get a welder in there to weld that. So if I can't weld it, then I don't want to be cutting it out, and I'd be better off just going straight across, in fact. So maybe actually that's what I'll do. Maybe what I'll do is connect it up here, and just thicken it up along there or something, and then get some seam sealer in underneath. Because I want to get this, yeah, so I think that might be the way to do it. I'm not after a complete rebuild here. I'm just after, get it up and running as my first project. So I think that might be what I'll do. So that's the first patch ready to go in. Took quite a while to cut out because I had to use my little battery powered Dremel because my cutting wheel was too big and I was catching along here, and the battery powered one got overheated and all kinds of stuff. So I might have to look at that, and I went through 3 cutting wheels with it, so I really struggled to get through that. It's really not got the power. But so that's the first patch ready to go in, and so that's what we're going to do now. And there we have it welded in place. It's just gone 11, so I've been out here just over 2 hours to do that little bit. Having said that, I did refit a couple of bits because I'd painted the back, zinc primered it to even protect it on the inside. Having looked at it from the inside, I've got no light coming through, which is why it's a bit bulked up there, because I had a few across the top of it, across here. I'm not going to touch it because it might still be hot. We had a few pin pricks coming through, so I bulked up the weld, and then I just sanded it down, ground it down like that. It's underneath, no one's going to look here. I don't really care what it looks like under here, so that's good with me. So that's done. I'm off to tennis now, and I need to work on this bit in the afternoon or tomorrow. Okay, so that is part 1 done, and we've welded in this piece along there. Now the next bit is, I was originally thinking about overlapping it, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to do a piece from, where's my finger, just from here to the side, and I think I'll weld it on the one side but not the other, I think. And then when my castle section comes in, so when I replace this slot down here, which will come over, I'll have a piece that goes over both of them, and that should, I hope, keep it secure. Because that's what I'm currently thinking. By the time I get to do it, I might have changed my mind again. But that's what I'm thinking now, because this is all along here. I mean, I've got, I reckon here, for example, I reckon I've got at least 2, if not 3 layers of metal. And so trying to sort that out ain't going to be particularly easy, especially since the ones underneath are rusted. And I know the proper solution would be to take it off and do it all, but we can see I'm not planning to do that just yet. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I think so. Okay, it's time to stop for the night, largely because my work light has broken again. I'm going to have to get something different. So what have I done? Since the last one, I've added this piece in here. Okay, and I've actually decided to weld it on both sides. Whether that's right or not, I'm not too fussed, because I know, this has been repaired, and so it's not as it came out of the factory. What I want to do is get it back on the road, and I'm not after doing a complete repair, so absolutely not what the purists would like. This has a few pinholes in it still, which I'm going to have to fix, but that's okay. I need better light, because I'm lying on my back doing this. So decent. It's coming on. That's going to be solid. And so the next bit is to sort that out there. So this gap here and there. Okay, and once that's done, I will have to fabricate this bit over here to come along and fix onto there. I think that comes with the castle section normally, but since I'm not buying the whole piece, I'm just going to go for the short piece. I don't get it, so I'm going to have to fabricate something. So I think, yeah, we'll get that bit done, then get it painted inside, and I need to order that castle section. The other bit I need to order is for the back here. I don't know if I showed you this, but I came to the conclusion, well, I had a little play in here, and, well, I know I'd talked about it not being great, but wow, look at this. Okay, it's all, and the other side's the same, but I haven't ripped the other side off yet. So my plan is, or at least right now my plan is, I can't buy just a quarter section. They used to do them, but they're not available any longer. So I have to get a full half length the whole way along to the door. And that comes with this tail support as well. So I'm going to have to, oh my God, cut out all the way along there and all the way down. Or I could just cut out a piece, buy the whole piece and cut out just a piece. It's 135 quid plus postage for that piece. But I've seen one on eBay which is new. Doesn't look quite new, but I think it's just been set around. It's on 6 days, so I'm bidding for that. And that means I'll only need to buy the castle section. So I'm trying to decide whether or not, right now, to order it, because that'll allow me to continue moving down this side, or to hold off. And if I don't win the bid for this piece, to order them together, because again it will just save me £10 postage. So that's the big decision at the moment, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off. I can do lots of little jobs. For example, I can take those the hubs off the rear wheels and paint those up, and do some little bits like that, or in fact this structure at the front, since I got the wing off, I could take this off, or in fact, more sensible, if we got the wing up here, we can see the inside of it, and that's the bottom, and that clearly needs a bit of fixing. So in fact, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold off on ordering, and I am going to see how I get on with that bid, and I'll order at that point. So it won't be until next weekend that I order, which means I'm going to finish off the welding down there, except for the castle section. and then I'll move on to odds and sods. Okay, let's see if I can video better than yesterday's fiasco and actually get you to hear me. So today I'm going to do this later, but I need to do the pinholes here. I want to put in one piece along here and a tiny little thin piece along there as well. And that, I think, would then give me that all ready to receive effectively replacements for the castle section, which is this great big long thing, and of course with this bit as well, which I'm going to have to bend back in and out and all that kind of stuff. So that's the plan now. That's what I'm going to work on next. So this is the patch that's going in. It fits in reasonably well. I left a bit too much, didn't cut this corner very well in the top, but it also is, it's coming underneath this great big wad of repair that's been put on. So I think what I'm going to do is fill it in like that and then try to join them up underneath here, and I think that will be watertight. So I've zinc primered that on the back, and this is the piece that's gone in along here. This is, I don't know if I can see, yeah, that bit's, I don't know, I think I might have to cut some of this out to try to get a better finish here. But whilst the paint on this was drying, so I've still got to do this bit, which I'll do next. Whilst the paint on this was drying, I did take a look just over here at some rust bubbles. So this is the sill underneath the driver door, and I gave that a little bit of a clean with a wire brush. This is going to be a bit more difficult because, unlike underneath, I actually need to try to get a decent finish. And so here what I'll do is I'll cut out this piece. I don't want to go into these curves because this is curved anyway. So just the one curve, if I can cut a piece along here, along there, weld that in place and try to get it as flush as possible, and then use a skim of filler to fill it up. But as I was doing that, I realised I got holes here as well underneath. I knew I had some along here, but this is pretty rotten as well. I mean, having said that, I mean, you know, where it's not holy, it's, you know, someone's whoever's done it has welded in thick metal, but it is, you know, I've got to decide what I'm going to do that. In terms of from the inside, when I look out, so this is so we can see how good the welding is. So we can see at the back there, on the right hand side, those are holes that are meant to be there, but down at the bottom we can see a few pinholes, and under the accelerator we can see a couple. Now I think the bit under the accelerator I haven't tried to tackle yet, and I think those pinholes are where I am and they need sorting, so we'll be working on that shortly. I had another look inside and I found I had a piece of carpet at the back there, so there's actually a much bigger hole by the accelerator, and that is, if we come over here, that's all here, and I'm really, while I look at this, the less happy, this bit here where it overlaps, the more I look at it, the less happy I am with it. So I think what I'm going to do, I can see it's overlapping here, so I think I'm going to cut across here for a bit. And I mean, this is just almost peeling off. I think the only thing holding this piece in is the fact that it's welded to this. So I'm going to cut across here and see if I can get maybe just there. Get that bit out. See if I can get it closer to flat, and then have another look at it. Well, if I didn't have it before, I've now got a nice big hole under my floor, and so this was covering it from the inside along here, and this is soundproofing material of some kind, but you can see on there some of the original blue paint. It's been gone over in black now, but that's the blue it originally was. So I think that's been on there, and if you look at what I've cut out, well, you can see it's been rust welded upon rust. So I think I might have to actually take out this bit as well, which is probably no bad thing, because I've managed to push that up. So in fact that metal is good there. I'm not sure, but that metal is good there, so actually I can weld that in. And so if I cut out this and then weld pieces in like that, then actually it should all be one level, which I think is going to be better overall. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut out a bit more and then start welding it back together. So we'll have another look once I've welded all of that back together, plus this bit, but unless I change my mind, I won't come back before then. Okay, so the floor is finished. So there was actually, so this section here, it's the castle section, goes all the way up to this, and I'm not going to deal with that yet because I need some metal for it. But the floor section, which is the bit I've done, which is all of this, down to, where's my finger gone? Okay, down to here, and up and across, all this. So there was a lot more, in fact, rust in here than I'd realised. The bit that was folded over, well, actually there was a great bunch of soundproofing poking through, and that's actually what was poking through into the ground. So I had to strip a lot of that out of the inside, and so in here we've still got one or two pinholes which we'll sort out, but most of that, in fact, the stuff on the right there is in fact the side, it's not the floor. There's a couple of pinholes in the floor, most of that will get covered by the castle section, so less worried about that. And what we actually had on that floor was a load of this stuff, which is great soundproofing, but I had to rip it up to see what the metal was really like in there. So we've done that. The next video probably will be on the castle section, although I haven't ordered the bit yet. I've been making the top end for it because I only have these small bits of metal. This might be quite hot still, so I've made this piece, which will be the flap that we can see there, which is all rust. And once I've done that, you know, then we'll paint it with hammerite and then undercoat it, and so that should make it relatively secure. So that's the end of this video, and we'll move on to the next one where we need to drill out that castle section that's in there, get that off, cut out a new piece for it which we're going to buy, and we haven't done yet, and go from there. So whilst I'm waiting, might be doing one or two other bits. I realised I had on here a couple of, on here, 2 bolts. There were 2. There's meant to be a third one somewhere over here, which are actually for the wing to be bolted on, which I've just realised by looking at the other side. Well, those 2 bolts were so rusted I ended up having to cut them off to get them out of there. So, and the other one I don't know where it is, so I'm going to have to find 3 appropriately sized bolts as well, or buy them or something. But we'll that's for the next one. So yeah, making progress. I'm quite pleased. There was one bit I did mean to show, which I forgot. So I haven't particularly ground down in here, except for along here where I've needed to, because the castle section needs to lie flat against that. So this bit's been ground down so that it's flat. Some of this other stuff, I gave it a quick ground, but I didn't bother to do too much, because I'm not too fussed about it.